Hi everyone, and welcome to my new series, Coffee and Contemplation. I'm Caroline. In these episodes, we will be exploring the concepts of truth, life, meaning, and purpose on a grand scale while narrowing in on specific and relevant issues or questions that drive us in the direction toward discovery. It seems to me the biggest contention that a lot of individuals have with existence is whether there is a greater purpose. As far as I can tell, even individuals who are atheists conform to some set of objective moral goods that they hold as a higher power, so to speak. With all this being said, let us introduce my guests for today, my dad, George Santos. So, welcome. Are you okay with pumpkin spice?
Yeah, I love pumpkin spice.
Okay, perfect. Well, why don't you start off by telling us a bit about yourself? What is your name? Are you religious, spiritual? Do you hold a set of morals outside of religion and spirituality? Or do you think it's a free-for-all?
My name is George, as you're well aware. Um, I am not religious. I consider myself an atheist. As for being spiritual, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I do hold a set of morals, obviously. I consider myself ethical, and I don't think ethics or morality comes or is derived from religion. I think religion can be infused with, or it often is infused with, ethics and morality, but that's because we infuse it into our religion rather than the other way around.
So you were telling me about a show that you watched called Upload. Why don't you give us a brief premise of that show?
It's been a while since I watched any of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the basic premise of the show is that this is the future. They have self-driving cars. They have AI. They also have the ability to completely digitally read the contents of somebody's mind and input that or download that. I guess the premise of the show is called download it
Upload.
or upload. Sorry, and upload it, as the case may be, into or onto a computer or into a computer simulation, so that the person believes that they are still alive and that they're still living, but they in this computer simulated world, virtual reality, I guess so we would call it. Uh, Although to suggest that these people are alive is I'm not sure we can necessarily go that far. I guess that would speak to whether now we'd have to define what is life if we were going to do that. So I'm not sure we're getting that deep into this discussion.
I would say they're alive for sure. I did have another direction I wanted to go. So we've had this discussion before regarding my issue with this concept of uploading oneself into a virtual reality. A big reason that people find this concept of virtual reality so fascinating is because it opens up, as you were saying, the potential to live forever, whether you consider it life or not. I do. The problem, however, in this scenario is an individual's brain would merely be copied, not transferred. So this means that the person being uploaded into the virtual reality has a separate consciousness, essentially making them a different person despite being identical in every other way, really. So when considering it in this light, the value of living forever in a virtual reality for me decreases exponentially because I would liken the copy of my brain to a twin or a clone. So in my opinion, living forever means you must have one stream of consciousness. If my brain were copied, I could die and my consciousness would end. The copy of my brain would live on, but I would not be experiencing it at this point. It would be a separate human entirely in any way that counts for me. So the only way to live forever then would be to preserve one's brain, thereby preserving their original consciousness. And I think before I ask you a question, we should define consciousness. I don't think I'm thinking of consciousness in this sense, in this specific instance, as sentience. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
And even then, we'd have to. I mean, I'm not sure that because we throw around these words, but a lot of times I'm not sure we necessarily know what they mean because we just we're using them colloquially. Um, so sentience. What do you mean by sentience?
Abstract thought, the thought that humans can have, but animals can't, basically. That's what I mean.
Okay. All right.
So by consciousness, I mean, well, this sort of gets into the question that I'm asking you in a minute. But by consciousness, I mean my continual stream of, let's say, experiences, thoughts. That's why virtual reality is not quite as appealing to me. It's because you cannot continue that stream. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this calls into question the existence of the human soul, because we can transfer everything about our brain. We can make the pathways. We can transfer everything, not transfer, copy everything, except for our consciousness. So consciousness seems to simultaneously be essential to the individual and also intangible. Everything else about our brain is tangible in that we can copy it and we can create another us, but it's not us. Do you think that this has something to do with the soul?
No. I think, first of all, we didn't define consciousness. I don't think we did. I don't believe you did that yet.
I tried.
You try.
It's a stipulative definition. It's not a, dictionary definition.
Okay. So I mean, when we digitally read all the information in the brain, and then we transfer that into a computer simulation or upload that onto a computer, what we are getting, I guess, the essence of what assuming we were able to do that, of course, we are definitely getting the essence of the person. But the person is much more than that. It's the actual physical brain itself, the neural pathways, and that determines how a person thinks as well. So not only would we have to digitally read the information that's there, but also we'd have to recreate the brain structure with it virtually as well. Mm-hmm. So I think if we were capable of recreating the brain structure, as well as reading all the memories, all the information that's in there, I think we could essentially recreate the person and exactly how they would think, how they would react to certain situations. Now, would that just be a really, really good computer program, or would that be the actual person? And how do you tell the difference? I'm not sure, right? So, without a body, maybe you could also create a body as well. You could actually build a robot body. You can actually grow a body. I mean, and what would be the essential difference if you were to, let's say, grow a human body, grow that you, of course, it'd be unique to you. It'd be your genetically you, and then if you were to transfer all your memories that you've downloaded, uploaded from your brain, and transfer those memories onto a perfect image of you at this point in time.
Do you mean transfer or copy?
What? I mean, in this case, that would be copy.
Okay, so
would it be you? No, it would not be you.
No.
But it would be essentially you.
It would be like a legacy of you, pretty much. That would be the point of doing it. It would be sort of like a legacy. But for me, I'd be dead.
You would be dead, that's correct. But you would still live on. So, I mean, it all depends.
I don't know.
I mean,
so what do you say about, what is your response to that idea of consciousness saying something about the soul?
You can. I don't think it says anything. I mean, every night we go to sleep, you are a different person, and every morning you wake up, you are one person. Every morning you wake up, you are a different person.
No.
So you're suggesting just because you
pause, and you don't even really pause. I mean, you dream, whatever. But we can say you pause and you pick up.
But there's no discernible difference if you were to, let's say, completely, if you, once again, assuming, of course, that we were able to completely digitally copy all our memories, all the information within our brain, and transfer that onto that grown human brain, there would be no discernible difference between you and this other you we've created. In fact, absolutely nobody would be able to tell the difference.
That is fine. Other people,
nor would you be able to tell the difference.
No, but it's not me. It's someone else. But other people and that person, it's like that person's just living on. But me, the real me, the original me that was born of a human, right? My consciousness ends. I do not continue experiencing anything. That is a separate stream of consciousness.
No,
even though it
well, of
has
course,
my memories.
of course, we're assuming that we've just copied that information and transferred that into
Yes.
a new, but the original you still exists, right?
Well, but like if I die, my consciousness
I
ends.
see. Right.
And if I continue to live, I can be here drinking coffee
With yourself.
and the other me can be across the world,
having completely different experiences.
wrestling an alligator.
Yes.
And I would not experience that.
That's correct.
It's another person.
Yes, you're right. It would be a completely different person. You're right.
Yeah.
But it would be you had you done that. It would be you.
I would be you had I
no,
sat in that chair.
No, that's not quite the same. No, so there's a multiverse theory, right?
Yes.
Okay. And some people believe that every decision you make, there are an infinite number of possibilities, and each one diverges, right? And so for each diverging possibility, there's another universe in which you've made that different decision. All those different yous are still you, but they chose a different path in life, right? So that person we created is you, but someone who's chosen a different path. Yeah. So it's essentially the same as you in all those different universes. So at some point there was a divergent experience, or you did something different than you in this present universe, and so you diverged. You went one way, the other you went to. We've all seen movies like that, right?
Okay.
And so this essentially would be the same thing, but in this case, it wouldn't be a different universe. It would be within the same universe, within the same world potentially. Oh, right, it would be in the same world because that's the discussion we're having, right?
Okay, so everything that you're saying boils down to the question: what makes you you? It can't be your brain and its pathways, because that can be duplicated and put into another person, or you can make this other person that is you. It can't be your memories or your thought patterns, because you can duplicate that. So what is it? What makes you you?
I guess what makes you you is the fact that literally you are you. I mean, nobody else can be you. You are the person sitting in front of me.
You're suggesting that she can be me, the duplicate.
She is a copy of you. Sure, that other person would be a copy of you. It would not be you. But it would be, for all intents and purposes, it would be you to anybody else, but it wouldn't be you to you.
But you said it would be me to her.
It would be indistinguishable. You two would not be able to discern who was who. Because we're assuming, of course, it would be a perfect copy.
So
neither of you would be able to discern.
Can distinguish who is who.
Yes.
We both think we're me.
But it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
What makes us?
But at that point in time, and what I guess the point I'm trying to say, or trying to make, is that it's irrelevant. It's the same as.
I think so.
No.
I think you're avoiding the soul.
No, I am not actually. I mean, let's assume that at one point, like 2 minutes ago, rather than continue this conversation, you stood up for a second and you sat back down. Mm-hmm. That person would be a different person than you are right now. It's essentially the same idea. There exists a universe in which you've made a different choice at that particular point in time. So that in one universe, like I said, you stood up and you sat back down for a split second. That person diverged. That's never going to be you from now on. Even though going forward, perhaps nothing else will ever change.
Okay, let's say in all the millions of universes, at the beginning of infinite universes, at the beginning of
it's hard to comprehend.
My time, when I was born,
mm-hmm.
in the nanosecond before things start to change between our universes, let's say like however short period of time it is, right? Even if it's like a quadrillionth of a nanosecond. You see what I'm trying to say?
Okay, all right.
What makes all of us the same?
What makes all of us the same?
Me and the infinite other Carolines.
Well, it depends how you want to define all of this. Are these all these other universes? Do they already exist? And there's just a slight divergence between your experience and their experience, or are they being created each and every time? There's like a change between.
Let's just use an example so I can get. I'm prodding you here. Okay.
Right.
So let's say we have an infinite amount of universes, and let's say they're all there. They all exist.
And at one point in time, you were all exactly the same.
At one split second in time, we're all exactly the same because you said before we do something different, me and the other Carolines do something different, we're the same. You said once we do something different, we're different people.
Yes.
So in that split second, before we've done anything different, what, like even at conception, before we've done anything different, like what makes us the same?
What makes you the same is that your genetics are exactly the same, all your experiences are exactly the same, but you are still assuming, of course, that these universes are different, are physically different. You are still different people because each and every single Caroline exists in a different universe. So they're all different people, but just...
So you don't think we're the same before we have different experiences?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't really read that much into it, to tell the truth.
So the answer that you're looking for is a shared soul, a shared stream of consciousness. This stream of consciousness, I think that's the soul.
I guess what I was trying to suggest, and maybe I don't know, I'm not even sure I was trying to do that, is that at conception, you start to diverge immediately. Okay. Because
fine.
At conception, at the split second of conception, you were all exactly the same.
Yes.
And that's where you start to diverge. Yes. Because,
so what makes us the same? After that, it doesn't matter. What makes us the same?
What makes you the same?
You're saying genes. You said genes at one point.
Your genetics, of
so
course.
Me and my brothers are like, what about identical twins? Like, they're not the same people. They have very similar genes, if not.
They are the same.
The same.
They are the same, yes.
Exactly the same.
Yes.
So?
What makes them different? Well, their experiences start to diverge almost immediately. So, I mean, is it one soul that they're sharing? And then when it splits, or do they each get their own soul? How does that work?
Well, I was not the one suggesting that it was genes.
No, what I'm saying, when you have an egg, you have a fertilized egg, you have an egg that's fertilized, one egg.
Well, that's
and at some point in time, that egg splits into 8 different babies. Now, was there one soul that inhabited that fertilized egg?
I've never personally inhabited an egg with a soul. I don't know how it works.
You know what? You know the question I'm asking.
Yes, it would be different souls, different people.
At what point?
You're the one who said that in different universes, because we have the same genes, for a split second, we're all the same because of our genes. You have to change that now.
Then let's assume that instead of there being an infinite number of universes, these infinite number of universes are created each and every single time. There's a divergence between one universe and another. I think I've heard something or read something to that effect. I'm not sure how much credence I give that. Or these universes exist, or so they're pre-existing. In which case, each and every single Caroline would be a completely different Caroline, but I mean, they would be the same in that they all share the same experiences and the same genetics up until the point that they diverge. For all intents and purposes, they are the same person. Nobody would be able to tell the difference. Even the Carolines themselves would not be able to tell the difference between themselves.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Maybe we can have this conversation again sometime. Maybe we're
the
just
same one?
In depth. No, we
Now, would it be the same conversation?
Yeah.
Or would it be 2 separate conversations?
That's a good question.
If we said all the same words.
It would still be a different conversation. Because it would be a different point in time. It wouldn't be exactly the same. There'd be an infinite number of universes between them.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
What makes all of us the same? Damn it.
Oof.
What do you think?
It's terrible coffee.
Really?
Yeah, that's horrible.